An aerial view of Kowloon, walled city in Hong Kong, the most crowded place on earth for 40 years. Kowloon walled city was 119 times as dense as New York City, had over 33,000 people lived and worked in Kowloon walled city, a massive complex of 300 interconnected buildings that took up a city block. The only regulation enforced at Kowloon was the height of the building. Because the airport was so close, the building was not allowed to be taller than 13 or 14 stories. The walled city was controlled by the Chinese mafia, called the Triads, from the 1950s through to the 1970s. It gained a reputation as a haven for prostitution, gambling and drugs. The streets and alleyways of the walled city were narrow. Most were barely wider than 6 feet, and some were so narrow that one had to walk sideways through them. A massive network of passageways in the upper levels also made it possible to travel the distance of the city without walking on a ground level street. It was demolished altogether in 1993. Pompeii, a world frozen in time. This shows a young boy crouched, mouth open, as if pleading, but he's not there. It's just the hardened volcanic ash that has locked him forever, staring with disbelief at the exploding mountain. Ammalato, or a sick man, a casting by Floretti of one of the victims of Pompeii. This man enjoying himself before the end. You could say he died doing what he loved. During World War II, the Germans had built the fake wooden hangars, airplanes and vehicles in order to trick the Allies. This was made as a decoy to help protect real nearby hangars and equipment. Some of these models were made from rubber and burlap, even being realistic to low-flying planes. The RAF, secretly knowing of this operation, waited patiently for months, and then dropped a single fake wooden bomb on it, saying wood for wood. 1938, Porta de Folha, Brazil. Gangs on the wrong side of the law were multiplying and operated with impunity on the northern half of the country. The authorities struggled to eradicate the illicit activities, became paradoxical and outrageous when they started displaying trophies of the arrested and persecuted clans. People think drugs are more of a modern thing, however the opium dens prove otherwise. One of the many opium dens in New York in the 1920s in Chinatown. It was a wretched hole, so low that we were unable to stand upright, reported a French journal of an English opium den in 1868. This was the first war on drugs. In the US, here opium pipes worth several $1,000s are burned at a public dumping ground. Inside Unit 731, Japan's disturbing human experiments program during World War II. Experiments by Unit 731 rank among some of the most horrifying war crimes ever committed, and they went virtually unpunished, including frostbite testing, the frostbitten hands of a Chinese person who was taken outside in the winter by Unit 731 personnel for an experiment on how best to treat frostbite. A vivisection of Kuntra's captives. A Unit 731 doctor operates on a patient that is part of a bacteriological experiment. Unit 731's horrifying weapons test. A Japanese soldier uses a Chinese man's body for bayonet practice in China, 1937. Rape and forced pregnancy. Beyond just the syphilis experiments, rape became a common feature of Unit 731's experiments. For example, female captives of childbearing age were sometimes forcibly impregnated so that weapons and trauma experiments could be done on them. Unit 731 researchers conduct bacteriological experiments with captive child subjects of the Northwest China province in November 1940. To this day, Japan has not apologized for, and China has not forgiven, the countless atrocities Japan's forces visited upon China between 1931 and 45. In 1900s England, a mother of four named Mary Ann Bevan developed a rare condition and took up the title of being the ugliest woman in the world as a way to provide for her children, a reminder of how cruel the world can be. Bevan decided to capitalise on her worsening appearance caused by her condition in order to help support her large family. She entered a local The Ugliest Woman contest and bested 250 unsightly competitors.